Let me quickly cut across to India Today's correspondents. We have Shweta Singh, who's right there, also Rohit Sharma, to cover up close Prime Minister Modi's arrival in New York. Shweta, over to you on the excitement, the fervor, celebration we see among the Indian diaspora. Like always, ahead of Modi's arrival, what's expected today?
Well, yes, Nabila, and the India Today group being ahead of the others. You see, we're in a studio right now at the exact same location where Prime Minister Modi will address the diaspora in a while, and Rohit Sharma is with me. And definitely it's been every single visit that the Prime Minister comes to the States, it is there is something that is different. The last time we were here, it was his state visit. PM Modi came up with AI, America and India, and artificial intelligence. And this time again, when we are here, we expect to hear a lot more things, which, of course, there was the Quad meeting yesterday where President Biden spoke about what is the future of Quad, and he just hugged Prime Minister Modi.
Well, pretty interesting image. Honestly, interesting meetings yesterday, the bilaterals and the Quad and the meetings with Japanese Prime Minister and Australian Prime Minister. But today is diaspora event, something that's really close to the Prime Minister's heart. He always makes it a point to connect with diaspora wherever he goes. And we've seen this. It started right here in New York City 10 years ago at the Madison Square Garden. Today, he is again coming back to New York after 10 years. A lot of buzz about what he's going to talk about. Last time when he was there, he talked about Sapchangasi. People want to know what he's going to talk about, and
I get a sense that since Rahul Gandhi was here a couple of weeks ago, I guess, and then he made a lot of political statements here. So I'm expecting that, okay, on the international platforms, you won't speak about it, but perhaps while addressing the Indian diaspora, he might address those things as well.
Well, it could be an opportunity for, him to score some political points, and we've seen that. Politicians, when they travel abroad, they try to do that. He might be able to score some of those points, but I think he values diaspora a lot. Diaspora loves him a lot. We've seen that over the years. So I think that obviously will be there. But the other important factor is, I think, and this is where it comes, or he likes to drive the point that the diaspora has been really important in driving Indo-US relationship. He's been able to mobilize the Indian diaspora in America to be able to do that, to build a strong relationship between India and the US. I think that will be probably the most important thing he will do and would be the focus of his speech.
And when we talk about diaspora, it's not just an emotional connect that we are talking about, and it's not just the numbers of how many NRIs we have who are living in the United States, but it is about the influence that they command in the community overall. So we've got leaders, and I'm talking about business leaders, I'm talking about champions of social change who are there, who are part of, who live here and who represent India. So now when they get an opportunity of actually connecting with their own Prime Minister, it's a different story altogether. You can see an entire stadium behind us, and Rohit tells me that around 30,000 fit in here, but since the stage is there and just half of being utilized?
No, 30,000 people signed up for the tickets. The arena capacity is about 16 to 17,000, but we're expecting 15,000 because the Prime Minister is going to be speaking from that stage and they cannot have anybody behind the Prime Minister. So about 15,000 people will be in the arena tonight.
So this time it's Modi and us. Modi and US.
Modi and US.
So that's the wordplay that comes up, and progress together. So it might be a diaspora event, but it is about how India and America will move forward, and that is the reason why he's not just meeting world leaders, but people who can take this progress forward. In fact, the rest of the day today, because it's just what's the time right now?
It's like 8:30.
8:30 a.m. So 8:30 a.m. He's got the day in front of him, and there are a lot of meetings lined up, which is bilaterals as well as some really prominent.
Well, he's going to be meeting with business leaders, there are bilaterals. And one point I do want to make, we talk about Indian Americans being influential. We've got, Samosa Caucus. We've got 5 people in the Samosa Caucus, congressmen, who are really influential in making sure that India remains important to the U.S. President Biden has already said that Indian Americans are the most important, India-U.S. relationship is the most important consequential relationship. So I think Prime Minister Modi understands that, and that is one of the reasons why he makes these, big diaspora events whenever it comes to the U.S.
I will make an exception, and I have a political guest here. Ajay Jain ji, please, why don't you come in here? And while
I'll just move. No,
just for a minute,
Yeah,
we'll have to fit you in, And I'll request
No,
Rohit to
I
move
can
out a bit. So you're further in the day, you're going for the Kamala Harris event.
Yeah, absolutely. We are. We are hosting Vice President Kamala Harris. This is one of our last fundraising event. It's in New York. So yeah,
She's going strong.
she's going strong. And
Who are the Indians with?
sorry.
Who are the Indians rooting?
Almost 5 million Indians are rooting for her. 90% of Indians are going to vote for her. We are doing strong in Michigan and Arizona, Nevada, Georgia, North Carolina, Pennsylvania, and we still need to do some more work in Pennsylvania and Wisconsin. But the next 45-50 days, we are going to organize and mobilize and get out all the votes.
But I see you with a Modi and Us T-shirt.
Absolutely. I'm so proud of our Prime Minister of India, Prime Minister Modi, and he has done a tremendous work. Last 6 weeks back, I was in India. After a few years, I traveled by road to Agra, Jaipur, and the roads were much better than, sometimes I said to them, much better than US roads. The whole digitization process, making payments so easy, from a small tea vendor to making airline tickets, and everything was so easy and smooth. And the malls and everything was so great. I mean, there's so much development taking place in India at every level. It was so good to see. So I think the best days of India are still ahead. I mean.
Great. I'll catch up with you on Aaj Tak as well.
Yes.
But just in a while.
Sure.
As soon as we finish the Indian, you know where our studio is now. Please, Rohit. So. That's what we were talking about. Yeah, that was a surprise.
That was a surprise. Yeah. So as Mr. Bhutore was also saying, I think Indian Americans are very important to India-US relationship, and Prime Minister understands that, he identifies that, and I think this is one of the reasons why he loves to connect with the diaspora.
And the diaspora loves to connect with him as well.
Yeah. I mean, we just heard from Mr. Raj of HAF, and he's a second-generation Indian American who's doesn't have that much of connection, but he just loves the fact that Prime Minister Modi has been able to talk about some of the values that holds dear to a lot of Indian Americans. I think that's the draw. That is why he's able to transcend all these boundaries and still connect with a lot of people who've lived abroad for years.
So, Nabila, we'll keep getting back to you. We are here at the arena, and the event is set to start in about an hour and a half from now. So there will be cultural performances. There are some last-minute rehearsals that are going on. The Prime Minister is expected by?
He's supposed to be coming around noonish. That's when his speech starts. So, but there's a lot of cultural programs. We have a stage right behind us. There's a stage outside of us. So there's going to be cultural programs. Possibly, we'll probably see one or two politicians from Indian origin also show up at the event. So interesting to see what happens now.
Okay. Back to you, Nabila.
Well, Shweta, I do have a question, though. There was a lot of buzz around Prime Minister Modi meeting with Donald Trump. If Rohit Sharma could jump in on that, is there a possibility with Prime Minister and Donald Trump meeting up as part of this 3-day event and Modi's visit there?
Right. What happened to Donald Trump and Prime Minister's meeting with him?
That's $1 million question. I mean, nobody knows. I mean, Prime Minister Modi, well, let's be honest. Donald Trump did put him in a tough spot by coming out and saying that he's going to be meeting. Prime Minister Modi would not, wanted that information out because as a Prime Minister in an election year traveling to the U.S., he doesn't want to sway vote one way or the other. So I think he did put Prime Minister Modi in a tough spot. I think what we have learned is if he's going to be meeting, he'll be meeting with both Vice President Kamala Harris and President Trump. But if not, then he's not going to be meeting with any of them. Yeah.
After Ab Ki Baar Trump Sarkar, there is no chance that he'll just meet one and not the other. If he's meeting both, he's meeting both. Otherwise, not a single.
And if the meetings are going to happen, they'll probably happen tonight. So we'll know. We'll know in like a couple of hours.
Okay.
Right, that's classic diplomacy. And a final note, Shweta, your take, and maybe Rohit could jump in on that as well, on the kind of influence that an event like this, a diaspora event like this, would have on the upcoming United States elections. We know the crowds that are going to be gathering there. Rohit says 30,000 people have signed up, 16,000 people are going to be arriving there. So how much of a pitch this would be, in a way, in terms of angling, positioning, to have an impact in whichever way for the upcoming United States elections?
So, Nabila, I'll go with my take first, and then I'll put the same question to Rohit. She basically wants to know about how a diaspora event like this would affect the American elections and the Indian voters' psyche, perhaps. So, I've been speaking to a couple of people, and while the last time when the much famous Trump campaign in India as well, and in fact, even in America happened, this time the people are saying the support for Modi does not mean support for Trump as well.
Well, true. I think even at that point in time, I think I think there was an honest mistake that had happened. But I think they've taken a lot of precaution by making sure that he doesn't say something, or something isn't conveyed, or the wrong message doesn't get conveyed. But look, I think Indian American voters are intelligent enough to pick who they want to pick, regardless of who they support. In India, and I think that's what we will see. Essentially, yes, there are people who would probably want to see what Prime Minister Modi is saying, and but that probably less than like 5 to 10% of people. People are independent and intelligent enough to pick who they want to pick, and I think that's what Indian Americans would do.
But yes, I did in fact meet a couple of people who said that Modi ji ne ek baar bol diya, and we will keep voting for Trump. So you have different kinds of people, but I think it's what India is. Nabila?
Well, that's very interesting to hear. So Modi's word could prevail. He's got to be very careful as to what he says. I heard Rohit speak on those lines on Modi being very diplomatic, and that's what he's known for. Right ahead of elections in the United States, we're looking at this massive diaspora event of Prime Minister Modi being part of the Quad Summit. On the sidelines of it, we're awaiting the two of you to bring us all the images up close as we go through the day. Thanks very much for now, Shweta and Rohit.